Hello, dear listener. Welcome back to the Lawyer Talk channel from BLawyers Vietnam. I am pleased to meet everyone again on today's podcast episode. And I am Bùi Quang Thái, and together with Mr. Huỳnh Kim Thành, we will be your host as we explore today's topic. Continuing with our previous topic of investing through capital contribution, share purchase, and stakes purchase, Mr. Thanh and I would like to share more about the procedure for registering capital contribution, purchasing share or stake, or also known as the procedure for investing in the form of capital contribution, purchasing share or stake for foreign investors.
Hello, Mr. Thái and dear listeners of the Lawyer Talk. I am Huỳnh Kim Thành and I'll be your co-host for today's podcast. Let's recap a bit. In the previous podcast episode of the Lawyer Talk, Mr. Thái and I, together with our dear listener, explore the current regulation of Vietnamese law regarding market access conditions and the principle applied to restrict market access for foreign investor when contributing capital, purchasing shares or stake in Vietnam. Accordingly, the contribution of capital, purchase of shares or stake foreign investor in Vietnam is used to mention as uniforms of investment. However, in reality, these forms of investment is specifically and separately regulated by Vietnamese law for each investment method as follows. According to Clause 1 of Article 25 of the Investment Law 2020, the foreign investors are allowed to contribute capital to economic organization in the following ways. Firstly, purchase of shares of joint stock companies through the initial public or additional issuance. For instance, joint stock company V is issuing additional shares to raise capital for new projects, and consequently, investor A can purchase the additional shares of company V and become a shareholders of the company. Secondly, contribution of capital to limited liability company and partnership company. For example, investor B contribute capital to company K LLC, which increase the charter capital of company K LLC, and investor B also become a member of company K LLC. And lastly, contribution of capital to other business organization not mentioned above.
Besides the capital contribution method, the foreign investor can purchase share or stake in an economic organization, as specific in Clause 2, Article 25 of the Investment Law 2020, which the following specific ways. Firstly, purchasing share in a joint stock company from such company or its shareholder. For instance, investor C may buy share from the shareholder of joint stock company V to become a shareholder of joint stock company V. Secondly, purchase of stake of member of a limited liability company to become a member of such limited liability company. For example, investor D can purchase the capital contribution of the member of company K LLC to become a member of company K LLC. Thirdly, purchase of stake of a capital contributing member of a partnership company to become a capital contributing member of such partnership company, such as investor E could purchase the capital contribution of a contributing member of partnership company Y to become a new contributing member of partnership company Y. And lastly, purchase of stake of member of other economic entities not mentioned above. And as both Mr. Thanh and I have shared with the listener in the previous podcast episode, the importance and demand of investing in Vietnamese market through capital contribution, share or stake purchase is very large, as well as to ensure compliance with the condition that Mr. Thanh and I have presented, making investment in the form of capital contribution, share or stake purchase must be done through contributing capital, purchasing share or stake registration procedure. According to Clause 2 of Article 26 of the Investment Law 2020, foreign investors are required to register their capital contribution, purchase share or stake in the following ways. Case number 1. The capital contribution or purchasing of share or stake increased the ownership ratio by foreign investor in a business organization conducting business in the restrict industry and profession, and the foreign investor can follow the restrict list for market access provided by Decree number 31, 2021 to ensure the compliance with the procedure obligation if they fall under this category. Case number 2. The capital contribution or purchasing share or stake result in a foreign investor or business organization specified in Clause 1 of Article 23 of the Investment Law 2020 holding over 15% of the charter capital of the business organization in the following case. First, the holding of charter capital by a foreign investor is increased from less than or equal to 50% to over 50%. Secondly, the holding of charter capital by the foreign investor is increased while such foreign investor is holding over 50% of the charter capital of the business organization.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Thái. Could I interrupt you with a visualized example for this case? I think it would be benefit for our dear listener if we let them know which foreign investor must carry out the procedures for capital contribution, share purchase, or stake purchase in this case. Firstly, we have foreign investor A holding 51% of charter capital in company X, and investor A in this case fall under the provision at point A, Clause 1, Article 23 of the Investment Law 2020, which is there foreign investor holding over 50% of the charter capital, and subsequently, the investor wish to purchase the 10% of capital contribution of Mr. B, who is a Vietnamese member of Company X, and accordingly, investor A must register the capital contribution purchase before executing the transaction between investor A and Mr. B. And am I understand that right, Mr. Thái?
That is totally correct in my point of view of this case. Thank you very much, Mr. Thành. And besides that, there is case number 3, which is the foreign investor contribute capital, purchase share or stake of a business organization that hold a certificate of rights to use land on an island or in a border or coastal commune or in another area that affect national defense and security. Once again, thank you for the practical example, Mr. Thành. I believe that our listener will better understand this case in which, according to Vietnamese law, foreign investor must carry out procedure for registering capital contribution, purchasing share or stake. So for such case, Mr. Thành, could you please share with our listener what steps are involved in contributing capital, purchasing share or stake registration procedure?
Oh, sure, Mr. Thái. Regarding the procedures for registering capital contribution, purchasing shares or stake, or also known as the procedure for investing in the forms of capital contribution, purchasing shares or stake for foreign investor according to Article 26 of Investment Law 2020. Let me first present the contents of the dossier for this procedure. The business organization in which foreign investor invest in the forms of capital contribution, purchase of shares or stake in cases where procedures for registering capital contribution, purchasing shares or stake of business organizations must be carried out, shown submit a set of application includes firstly, a registration form for capital contribution or purchase of shares or stake, which contains information like enterprises registration information for the business organization to which the foreign investor expects to contribute capital or whose shares or stake are expected to be purchased by the foreign investor. List of the owner, members, and founding shareholder, or list of owner, members, and founding shareholder that are foreign investor, if any. The second is the copies of legal document of the individual or organization that contribute capital or purchase shares or stake, and of the business organization to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose shares or stake are purchased by foreign investor. And thirdly is a principal agreement on capital contribution or purchase of shares or stake between the foreign investor and the business organization to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose shares or stake are purchased by foreign investor, or between the foreign investor and the shareholders or members of such business organization. Lastly, is a copy of the certificate of land use right of the business organization to which foreign investors contribute capital or whose shares or stake are purchased by foreign investor. If such business organization has the certificate of rights to use lands on the island in border commune, ward or town, and coastal commune, ward or town, other areas that affect defense and security, except for the business organization executing the investment project in individual park, export processing zone, high-tech zone, or economic zone established under the government regulations. And however, during the application process, the investment registration authority may request additional documents or explanation to clarify specific contents in the registration forms for capital contribution or purchase of shares or stakes. Based on practical experience, I usually contact the competent investment registration authority to confirm the specific document required for these procedures.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thành, for providing us with a complete dossier. And after preparing a complete dossier, the business organization in which foreign investor contributing capital, purchasing share or stake, like Mr. Thành just mentioned, proceed with the following step. Firstly, except for case where procedure for registering capital contribution, purchasing share or stake of business organization must be carried out. Business organization in which foreign investor invest in the form of capital contribution, purchase of share or stake shall follow procedures for registration of a change of member or shareholders in accordance with regulation of law on enterprise and other law corresponding to each type of business organization. Secondly, the business organization in which foreign investor invest in the form of capital contribution, purchase of share or stake, in case where the procedure for registering capital contribution, purchasing share or stake of business organization must be carried out, shall submit one set of application Mr. Thành just mentioned earlier to the investment registration authorities of the administrative division where the business organization headquarters is located, which is sometimes the Department of Planning and Investment or the Industrial Zone Authority, for example. Next, for foreign investors who do not fall under the case of business organization have a certificate right to use land on the island in border commune, ward or town, and coastal commune, ward or town, other areas that affect defense and security. Within 15 days from the receipt of the valid application, the investment registration authority shall consider to the satisfaction of the condition for capital contribution or purchase of share or stake regulated in Investment Law 2020, the Decree number 31 2021, and notify the investor. The notification shall be sent to the foreign investors and business organizations to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose share or stake are purchased by foreign investor.
Following up with Mr. Thái just recent, I want to add a case that if the business organization to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose shares or stake are purchased by foreign investor has the certificate of right to use land on the island in border commune, ward or town, and coastal commune, ward or town, or in another area that affect national defense and security, the investment registration authority shall follow the procedures below. Within 3 working days from the receipt of the valid application, the Investment Registration Authority shall seek opinion of the Ministries of National Defense and Ministries of Public Security about satisfaction of the condition for business organization that has the certificate of right to use land on the island in border commune, ward or town, and coastal commune, ward or town, or the area that affect defense and security except for the business organization executing the investment project in an industrial park, export processing zone, high-tech zone, or economic zone established under the government regulations. Within 7 working days from the receipt of the Investment Registration Authority request, the Ministries of Nation Defense and Ministries of Public Security shall give their opinion about the satisfaction of the conditions for national defense and security assurance by the business organization to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose shares or stake are purchased by foreign investor. In case of failure to give any opinion by the aforementioned deadline, it is considered that it concur with the satisfaction of the condition for national defense and security assurance by the business organization to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose shares or stake are purchased by foreign investors. Within 15 days from the receipt of the valid application, the Investment Registration Authority shall consider the satisfaction of the condition for capital contribution or purchase shares of stake or shares regulated in the Investment Law 2020, Decree number 31, 2021, and notify investor according to the opinion given by the Ministries of National Defense and Ministries of Public Security. The notification shall be sent to foreign investor and business organization to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose shares or stake are purchased by foreign investor. And lastly, after foreign investors are granted the approval for capital contribution or purchase of shares or stakes, the business organization to which foreign investor contribute capital or whose shares or stakes are purchased by foreign investor shall follow the procedure for change of member or shareholder at the Business Registration Authority in accordance with regulation of law on enterprises or other law corresponding to its types of business organization. The rights and obligations for foreign investors as members or shareholders of the business organization shall be established after completing the procedures for change of members or shareholders.
Dear listener, we have just explored the topic of investing through capital contribution, share purchase, and stake purchase from foreign investor under the Vietnamese law. I hope that the information provided in this podcast have been valuable to you. Thank you to all the listeners for your interest and attention.
And once again, if you have any questions or concerns, please leave a comment below. For more information about BLawyers Vietnam, feel free to visit our website, which you can find below the podcast screen of The Lawyer Talk. Goodbye and see you next time.